The Seattle Seahawks have signed Austin Davis. Matt Verderam's our NFL insider. Who the hell is Austin Davis?
I don't know.
I mean, seriously.
I don't know. No, okay, seriously. He is a backup quarterback who has been all over the map. Like, he was with the Rams, with the Browns, recently with the Broncos, and now he's going to the Seahawks.
So Colin Kaepernick goes up to Seattle. He meets with Seattle. He seemingly fits in Seattle, yet they don't sign him. Why didn't that happen?
According to head coach Pete Carroll, because he's too good to be a backup, and so he needs a starting job. Well, Pete, that's ridiculous. First of all, he's not too good to be a backup. He's a backup quarterback. Second of all, okay, just come out and say it. You didn't sign him because you don't want the perceived media circus, backlash, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Austin Davis is not anywhere near as good as Colin Kaepernick. And Colin Kaepernick is not good. He's a mediocre quarterback, very good backup. But Austin Davis has not thrown a pass since 2015, and he was terrible when he did.
Austin Davis, Blaine Gabbert, help me out here. Ryan Fitzpatrick, who am I missing? Who all signed as backup quarterbacks?
Oh, God, I mean, Mark Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez. So
the list goes on.
So he is being blackballed, correct? How could you make an argument anywhere else?
I'll make a very succinct argument. I think some teams are blackballing him. Some teams will not sign him because of the perceived backlash they'll receive. Some places will, of course, get backlash worse than others. I don't think he's good enough to be a starter on a good team.
No one's saying that.
Right. And so I think he is good enough to be a starter on a bad team, but most bad teams are going to go with a guy who is a young quarterback.
But why would you want to have a seasoned veteran behind that young guy?
And that's where we get to. I think a lot of teams say, I don't want to deal with the headache, with the headlines towards a backup quarterback.
Which
if we're going to deal
blackballed, right?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
what would you call it?
I would call it just making a logical decision. You don't want to deal with a headache that's not giving you any return on your investment. You know, if you're getting a really good return on your investment, then you're okay with dealing with a little bit of headache.
He had 16 touchdowns last year, 4 interceptions, quarterback rating of 90. You are, in theory, you are trying to win games.
Yes.
How could you make an argument that you're trying to win more games with Austin Davis or whoever the hell else I just named?
Because I think, again, if you're a good team, I agree with you. There is an idea that you could say, okay, a good team should have the best backup possible because if your starting quarterback goes down, you still want to remain good. And so the Seahawks signing Austin Davis, that's not really helping that cause. But again, it goes back to I don't think teams want a backup quarterback to be driving headlines.
Right, okay.
I think that's the bottom line. But I don't think it's because people are like just opposed to who he is as a human being. I also think,
but he's not on a team because of his talent. He's not on a team because of what he did off the field.
Yes, but I don't think it's because people are morally opposed to it. I think it's because people feel like it's going to be a circus and they just don't want to deal with the circus. Whether or not they agree with him or they disagree with him, I think they just feel like it's going to be a major distraction for a guy who, if your quarterback stays healthy, doesn't give you any return on your investment. And even if he comes in, may not give you one. Let's not forget, look, I think Colin Kaepernick is a better quarterback than Blaine Gabbert. Okay, I think most people would agree with that. He was benched for Blaine Gabbert a few years ago.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not as though he's been terrific.
Right. No, he was, and then he ended up starting over him the rest of the year.
He did. He did. And so my point is that I think you could go back and forth. Let's put it this way. If he didn't have the perceived baggage with him, I think he would be signed. But I don't think teams are saying, I don't like that guy, so I'm not. Maybe a few are. I'm not saying maybe a handful of owners.
No,
sure.
I agree. It's not a.
But I don't think a team, 32 teams are out there saying, well, I just don't like who he is as a person. I will say this. I think that his pig socks and his Fidel Castro stuff hurts him infinitely more with a lot of people that are smart people than the kneeling during the national anthem.
Yeah, but that's got nothing to do with the NFL. That's just more the talk around him, right?
I think it has to do with the distraction that all plays into it. I think a lot of people get angry with the national anthem stuff. But I think a lot of people also say, okay, we don't like it, but it's his view, fair enough, fine, right? I think it's a pretty split segment of the country. That said, I think most all people see those pig socks and just go, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Right, I think he would take that back too, but I mean, we're just in a back and forth here of what constitutes being blackballed. His talent says he should be on the field. he doesn't have a job because of what he did off the field. To me, that's somebody who's blackballed.
Well, let's take it in our industry, okay? So let's say I am a good writer. Not a great writer, not a terrible writer. I'm just a good, solid writer. Maybe even an average writer, okay? But I'm known to be a real pain in the neck to deal with in an office.
Then you would be blackballed and out.
They would say, he's not worth our time.
Right, blackballed.
But see, I don't agree it's a blackball. I feel like that's just a matter of weighing what's worth your time. I don't think, blackball to me would be if the NFL, all the 32 owners got in a conference call and said, look, he cannot be signed. We are not signing him. I mean, I don't think that's happening.
I mean, I could think of some highly prominent writers who don't have jobs, who are really good writers, and they got booted out. That would be people, and everyone else, the media companies are surviving. Just don't get blackballed, Verderame. Be a good guy. That's my advice to you.
I just think you have to know, like, if Aaron Rodgers did exactly what Colin Kaepernick did,
sure,
he's got 32 offers on the table, right?
Right.
And not because of race. I want to make that clear. It has nothing to do with black or white. If Aaron Rodgers was black and put up the stats that he put up, he would absolutely. It comes down to the fact that Colin Kaepernick is a borderline starting quarterback.
I get it.
And so I think just a lot of teams say, I don't want to deal with the budding headache that could be. And you and I just disagree on whether or not that's being blackballed or not.
He's blackballed.
He's just simply not good enough to warrant the distraction.
Thank you for watching. Matt Verderame, he is our NFL insider.